Have you ever felt like no matter how much you learn, how much you read, or how much you reflect, you're still not there yet? Like there's always another book to read, another mindset shift to make, another emotional block to clear. And somehow the more you seek, the more elusive the transformation feels. For a lot of people on the path of personal growth, there's this idea that if they just do enough work, they'll hit a moment where everything clicks. That one day they'll wake up and suddenly life will feel effortless. They'll feel free. And for some, they even call this moment enlightenment. But what if that's just another illusion? What if the constant search for that breakthrough is actually the very thing keeping you stuck? In this video, you'll learn why constantly seeking personal growth can sometimes backfire and keep you stuck. The difference between learning about change and training for real change. Why the idea of enlightenment as a single moment of awakening is misleading. How waiting until you feel ready might be the biggest obstacle between you and real transformation. And a simple shift that can help you stop chasing breakthroughs and start living them. There's a pattern I see a lot. People get into personal development and at first it's exciting. They start understanding themselves in new ways and it feels like real progress. But over time, that initial momentum slows down and frustration creeps in. They start thinking, maybe I just need to read another book. Maybe I should try a different type of meditation. Maybe there's something I'm still missing. And that's the trap, because while gaining knowledge feels productive, knowledge alone doesn't create change. I had a friend who spent years deep in this cycle. They had so much insight, could explain their emotional patterns, their triggers, even their nervous system responses in great detail. But when it came to actually handling conflict, setting boundaries, or shifting their emotions in real time, it still felt impossible. What they eventually realized, and what made all the difference, was that they had been studying transformation instead of training for it. A lot of people think of enlightenment as this mystical moment where suddenly everything makes sense. The mind becomes clear, emotions stop being a problem, and you just exist in this state of constant peace. But here's the thing, what if enlightenment isn't a moment? What if it's just a byproduct of training? The Zen scholar D.T. Suzuki once described enlightenment as everyday life, but 2 inches off the ground. In other words, nothing about the circumstances of life changes. There's still stress, still emotions, still challenges, but the way you experience it shifts. It's like a subtle lightness, a sense of being less weighed down by it all. But you don't achieve that by chasing after it. It's not a secret door you unlock by doing enough inner work. That state of lightness comes from repeated training, learning how to navigate thoughts and emotions in a way that doesn't pull you under. In other words, what people call enlightenment isn't something you reach, it's just what happens when you stop resisting and start engaging with life fully. There's another version of this that I see all the time, especially with coaches, teachers, and entrepreneurs, people who are incredibly skilled and knowledgeable, but keep waiting for permission to start. They say things like, I just need one more certification, then I'll be ready to launch my business. I want to make sure I really know my stuff before I put myself out there. I don't feel qualified enough yet. So they keep studying, keep training, keep gathering credentials, hoping that one day they'll finally feel ready. But that day never comes. Because the truth is, confidence doesn't come from collecting more knowledge. It comes from applying what you already know in real time. I worked with someone who had spent years getting every possible certification in their field, yet they still felt like they weren't ready to start their business. They kept pushing back their launch date, kept signing up for more training, and kept thinking, I just need to learn a little more first. Eventually, they realized they weren't actually preparing, they were avoiding the discomfort of being seen, of making mistakes, of stepping into the unknown. And once they finally started taking action, they saw something surprising. All the knowledge they already had was more than enough. What they needed wasn't more information, it was more real-world experience. Let's say you want to get stronger. You could spend hours reading about strength training, watching YouTube videos on perfect form, and understanding the science behind muscle growth. But if you never pick up a weight, nothing changes. The same thing happens in personal growth. Understanding how the mind emotions work is useful, but it's not enough. Real change happens when you train new ways of thinking, feeling, and responding consistently in real life. Most people assume that once they understand something, change will follow automatically. But the brain doesn't work that way. Just like you wouldn't expect to get fit after reading about exercise, you won't rewire patterns just by thinking about them. Training means intentionally working with your thoughts, emotions, and nervous system as they show up in real time. It's about catching yourself in those everyday moments when you start overthinking, when emotions take over, when you feel resistance, and choosing a different response. So here's the shift. Instead of asking, what else do I need to learn before I can change? Start asking, how can I train what I already know right now in real life? Instead of analyzing your patterns endlessly, experiment with doing something different the next time they show up. Instead of looking for the perfect method, work with what's in front of you today. Instead of preparing for growth, start living it. You don't need another book. You don't need another certification. You don't need to feel more ready. You just need to engage in consistent real-world practice. The truth is, transformation isn't something you find, it's something you train. And the difference between feeling stuck and feeling free isn't how much you know, it's how much you practice. That's exactly what I help people do inside the Inner Foundation series. Instead of just learning about change, you actually train the ability to shift your thoughts, emotions, and nervous system in real time. One of the most powerful things we focus on is learning to engage with challenges without overanalyzing, so you don't get caught in the loop of endless seeking. If you're ready to take this work deeper, I have free resources to help. You can find me on Instagram at Mike Wang Coaching. And if you want weekly insights and inspiration, sign up for my newsletter. It's where I share deeper perspectives on the topics we explore in these videos. And I think you'll find a lot of value in it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.